Welcome to Monk's Temple. I want you to imagine, for a moment, a very specific kind of exhaustion. It's not the fatigue of a long day's physical work. It's not the satisfying tiredness after a good workout. This is a deeper weariness. A quiet, background hum of strain that lives in the muscles of your jaw, in the space between your eyebrows, in the constant, low-level preparation of your shoulders for a burden they can't quite put down. This exhaustion comes from a lifetime of being told, in 1,000 subtle and not-so-subtle ways, that you are a project. An unfinished work. A puzzle missing its most important piece. That your peace, your happiness, your worth, they exist in a future conditional tense. You will be happy when. You will be at peace after. You will be worthy once you finally. Fill in the blanks. You know them by heart. When you lose the weight. After you get the promotion. Once you heal that childhood wound. When you find the right partner. After you become more mindful. Once you learn to love yourself. We have built a colossal industry, the self-improvement industrial complex, on this single, powerful idea, that you are broken, and you need to be fixed. That you are lacking, and you need to be filled. That you are off course, and you need a map, a guide, a guru, a pill, a practice, a protocol to get you back on track. And so you try. Oh, how you try. You buy the books. You download the apps. You set the intentions. You attend the workshops. You practice the gratitude. You process the trauma. You affirm your worth in the mirror. You chase the elusive state of being healed, awake, enlightened, whole. And yet, in the quiet moments, in the still, dark spaces between all that effort, the question remains, doesn't it? A whisper, sometimes a scream, why isn't it working? Why do I still feel this way? Why am I not there yet? What if the reason it isn't working is because the fundamental premise is backwards? What if you are not a seeker on a path toward peace? What if you are peace itself, and all this time, you have been on a long, frantic, exhausting journey away from yourself? Think of it like this. Imagine you are wearing a pair of glasses. These glasses are smudged, scratched, tinted with the colors of every fear, every past hurt, every future worry you've ever had. You look through them at the world, and the world looks stressful, threatening, lacking. You look at yourself in a mirror, and you see a flawed, anxious, incomplete person. So you decide to fix what you see. You try to polish the stressful world. You try to repair the flawed person in the mirror. You expend all your energy trying to adjust the reflection. But you never think to take off the glasses. The peace, the wholeness, the clarity, it's not in the reflection you're trying to fix. It's in the one who is looking. It's the aware, silent, spacious presence that is seeing through the smudged lenses. That presence is not anxious. It is not flawed. It is not incomplete. It is simply aware. It has been aware through every single moment of your life, your first step, your first heartbreak, your greatest joy, your deepest sorrow. It has never wavered. It has never judged you. It has never once told you that you need to be different. That presence is your home. And you have never, not for 1 second, left it. You've just been very, very busy redecorating the rooms in your mind, thinking you were in a different country altogether. Tonight, we are not adding another piece of furniture to those rooms. We are not giving you a better blueprint for renovation. We are inviting you to stop. To turn around. To feel the ground beneath your feet that has been holding you this whole time. This is not a journey of addition. It is a journey of subtraction. Of unlearning. Of remembrance. It is the most radical thing you can do in a world that profits from your sense of lack, to stop believing the story that you are lacking. This is not passivity. It is not giving up. It is the highest form of courage. It takes immense bravery to lay down the weapons you've been using against yourself, the weapons of criticism, of relentless improvement, of conditional self-love. It takes trust to believe that what you are in your essence, beneath the noise, beneath the story, is already and always okay. So, let's begin with the simplest, most profound action of all. Let's stop. Right now, wherever you are, whatever you're feeling, just stop. Let the weight of your body be fully surrendered to the surface beneath you. Feel the pull of gravity, not as a force to resist, but as an embrace, allowing you to finally rest. Notice the points of contact. Your back against the bed, your legs against the sheets, your arms at your sides. Feel the texture, the pressure, the simple, undeniable reality of support. Now, bring your attention to your breath. But don't try to change it. Don't try to make it deep or calm. Just notice it. Feel the cool air as it enters your nostrils. Feel the slight pause. Feel the warmer air as it leaves your body. There is an intelligence in you, far wiser than your thinking mind, that is managing this. It is regulating your heartbeat, digesting your food, healing the tiny cuts on your skin, all without a single thought from you. This intelligence is not trying to become peaceful. It is peace, in action. It is the living embodiment of the homeostasis, the balance, the effortless functioning of life itself. And now, the most important part. Notice the one who is noticing all of this. The one who is aware of the body resting. The one who is aware of the breath flowing. The one who is hearing these words. Who is that? Don't answer with a name, a role, a story. Don't answer with, I am John, or I am a teacher, or I am someone who is stressed. Feel for the awareness itself. The silent, spacious, cognizant presence that is reading these words. It has no age. It has no gender. It has no problems. It doesn't need to be fixed or improved. It simply is. It is the context in which every experience of your life, every thought, every feeling, every triumph, every failure, has appeared and disappeared. That is what you are. Not the thoughts. Not the feelings. Not the story. You are the aware space in which all of that happens. For the next 3 minutes, I'm going to fall silent. Your only instruction is to rest as this aware presence. Thoughts will come. Feelings will arise. Sensations will shift. Let them all be. Don't follow them. Don't push them away. Just be the sky, and let the thoughts and feelings be clouds, passing through. Your job is not to control the weather. Your job is to remember you are the sky. Guided pause, 3 minutes of silence with gentle, sparse reminders, resting as awareness, the sky watching clouds, simply being. As you gently return, carry this simple knowing with you: the peace you seek is not a state to be manufactured in the future. It is the fundamental nature of the aware presence that you are, right here, right now. It has been here all along. The search is over. You are home. We're just going to spend the rest of our time together exploring what this home is like, and gently cleaning the windows so you can see the view more clearly. To explore this home, we need a new way of seeing ourselves. Our habitual identity is fragile. We feel like a candle flame in a drafty room, constantly flickering, threatened by every passing thought, every strong emotion, every piece of bad news. We spend our lives building walls, trying to create a windless room where our fragile sense of self won't be blown out. We think peace is the absence of wind. I want to offer you a different metaphor, one that came not from a philosopher, but from a woman who lived a life of stark, practical necessity on the edge of the world. Her name was Ilara, and she was the last keeper of a remote lighthouse on a granite island in the North Atlantic. I went there during a season of my own inner turmoil, thinking the extreme solitude would force a quiet upon my mind. What I found was a different kind of noise, the roar of the ocean, the scream of the wind, a silence so vast it was deafening. And Ilara, a woman of few words, whose eyes held the calm of someone who had made peace with forces much larger than herself. Her world revolved around one thing: the light. Not a modern electric beacon, but an ancient, magnificent apparatus, a first-order Fresnel lens. Imagine a giant, intricate beehive made of perfectly ground, hand-polished glass prisms, taller than a person, rotating on a bed of liquid mercury. In its heart burned a single, modest kerosene lamp. My first night there, a storm descended. The wind shook the stone tower to its bones. Through the thick glass, I watched mountains of black water hurl themselves against the cliffs. I felt a familiar, internal clenching, the feeling of being a small, fragile thing in the face of an overwhelming chaos. I turned to Ilara and said, "It must be terrifying, keeping the flame lit in this." She didn't look at the storm. She looked at the lens. She placed a weathered hand on its cold, brilliant surface. "You misunderstand," she said, her voice so quiet I had to lean in. "Everyone does. They think the struggle is to keep the flame lit. They think the flame, that small, vulnerable thing, is what matters. So they build walls against the storm. They hide. They protect. They think peace is a calm day." She gestured to the furious universe outside the glass. "But the storm is not the problem. The problem is believing you are the flame." She began to explain her daily work. It wasn't about the fuel. It wasn't about shielding the lamp. It was about the lens. Every day, in all weather, she polished. She used special cloths and fluids to remove every speck of salt, every fingerprint, every haze of ocean grime from hundreds of individual glass facets. The light, she said, comes from beyond the lamp. My job is not to create the light. My job is to remove everything in the lens that is not perfectly clear glass. The clarity is already there, in the structure. The salt is temporary. The grime is an obscuration. The lens is designed to gather all the raw, scattered light from that tiny source and bend it, focus it, magnify it into a beam so coherent, so powerful, it can cut through that. She nodded at the storm. You, she said, looking directly at me, are not the little flame of your personal thoughts and feelings, threatened by the storms of life. You are the entire lens. Every worry you have is a smudge of salt on one facet. Every memory of joy is a clear, brilliant pain. Every old hurt is a crack that has been sealed with the gold of your resilience. The lens is vast, complex, and stable. It is designed to hold the storm. The light of awareness, that comes from elsewhere. It is impersonal. It is constant. Your only task is to polish. To gently, patiently, remove the identifications, the grime of believing you are the smudge, the crack, or even the clear pain. When the lens is clean, the light does what it was always meant to do. It becomes a guide. Not by fighting the dark, but by being so unequivocally itself that the dark becomes irrelevant. I stood there, my old identity shattering like cheap glass. I had spent my entire life as a frantic fire keeper, trying to shield my little flame from every breeze of criticism, every gale of grief, trying to build a windless room called perfect circumstances. And all the while, I was ignoring the magnificent, stable, luminous structure I already was. You are not the content of your mind. You are the capacity that holds it. The anxiety is not you, it is a weather pattern passing through the sky of your awareness. The critical thought is not you, it is a smudge on the lens. The joyful feeling is not you, it is a clean facet catching the light. Your fundamental nature is the lens itself, the aware, spacious, cognizant capacity in which all of this appears. Peace is not about calming the storm so the flame won't flicker. Peace is the innate, stable clarity of the lens, which exists whether the storm is raging or the sea is glassy calm. This isn't just poetic insight. Modern neuroscience offers a fascinating parallel. Researchers using fMRI scans have studied the brains of experienced meditators. They particularly looked at a type of meditation called open monitoring, or non-directive meditation, where you simply rest as awareness, allowing thoughts and sensations to come and go without interference. They found something remarkable. The brain's default mode network, DMN, this is the circuit that's active when you're not focused on the outside world, the one that generates your sense of a continuous self, your autobiographical story, your mind wandering, your me, my, mine thoughts. This network didn't shut off. The thoughts kept coming. The flame kept burning. But something crucial changed. The connection between the default mode network and the amygdala, the brain's fear and alarm center, significantly weakened. In simpler terms, the self-referential thoughts, the flame, kept flickering, but they lost their power to trigger panic, fear, and emotional hijacking. The storm's signals, amygdala, were still there, but they were no longer coupled to the story of me. The lens, the observing awareness, had created a space between the flame and the storm. The peace was found not in the absence of mental activity, but in a change of relationship to it. The lens was clean enough that the light could pass through undistorted, even in the wind. So, how do we polish this lens? It's not an aggressive scrubbing. It's a gentle, patient noticing. Let's begin a 3-part polishing practice. We'll move from noticing the facets, to feeling the structure, to resting as the light source itself. Part 1, Acknowledging the facets, 5 minutes. Get comfortable. Close your eyes if you wish. For the next 5 minutes, your only job is to notice what's present in your field of awareness and to silently, gently, name its type. You are a curator, cataloging the exhibits in the museum of this moment. A thought about what you need to do tomorrow. Mentally whisper, thinking. A feeling of heaviness in your legs. Sensation. An emotion of mild anxiety. Emotion. A memory popping up. Remembering. A sound in the distance. Hearing. Don't analyze the content. Don't judge it as good or bad. Don't follow the thought down a rabbit hole. Just name the category and return to open awareness. If you get lost in a thought, the moment you realize it, just name thinking and come back. You are not trying to empty the museum. You are simply learning to recognize the different kinds of artifacts it contains. This is the first step of polishing, seeing the smudges and the clear spots for what they are, temporary appearances on the lens. Gentle, guided 5-minute period with periodic reminders, notice, name, thinking, sensation, hearing. Part 2, Feeling the structure, 5 minutes. Now, shift your attention from the facets to the structure that holds them. Let go of the labeling. Bring your awareness to the feeling of space within your head. Feel the volume, the container of your skull. Now, let that sense of spacious container expand to include your whole body, the torso, the arms, the legs. Imagine your entire physical form as that crystalline lens structure, solid, stable, with a vast interior space. Feel into this structure. Feel its boundaries, not as walls that confine, but as the defining shape of this particular lens. Inside this structure, sensations arise and fall. Thoughts flicker and fade. Emotions swell and subside. But the structure itself remains. It is the stable ground. For these minutes, simply be this structure. Feel yourself as the container, not the things contained. The lens, not the images passing through it. Rest here, as the stable, spacious architecture of your present moment experience. Gentle, guided 5-minute period focusing on somatic spaciousness. Part 3, Noticing the light source, 5 minutes. Finally, we turn to the most subtle aspect. We've noticed the facets. We've felt the structure that holds them. Now, ask yourself, what is aware of all of this? What is the source of this knowing? Don't search for a thought or an image. Feel for it. It is not a thing you can see. It is the seeing itself. It is the aware presence that is reading these words, that heard the naming, that felt the structure. This aware presence is not located in space. It is not in your head. It is the open, cognizant space in which the head, the body, the thoughts, the feelings all appear. It is prior to all objects. It is the subject, the witness, the knowing. For the next 5 minutes, let go of being the lens structure. Let go of noticing the facets. Simply rest as this aware presence itself. You are not the polished lens. You are the light by which the lens is seen. Thoughts may still come. Let them be like birds flying through the vast sky of your awareness. They don't affect the sky. Sounds arise. They happen within the space of your hearing. Rest as the sky. Rest as the space. Rest as the light of pure knowing, which has no form, no problem, and is forever at peace. Gentle, guided 5-minute period resting as awareness. Slowly, gently, bring your attention back to the feeling of the body, the breath. Carry with you this threefold understanding. You can notice the passing content, facets. You can rest in the stable container of your experience, structure, and you can abide as the unchanging awareness that illuminates it all, light source. This is the polish. This is the work. Not to fight the storm, but to remember, deeply and viscerally, that you are the lighthouse, not the candle. This understanding is the foundation. From this stable place, we can now look at the specific smudges and cracks on our lens not as enemies, but as teachers. We'll do that next. From the stable vantage point of the lens, knowing ourselves as the aware space, not the passing weather, we can now turn towards the aspects of our experience we typically reject. The smudges. The cracks. The facets we wish weren't there, our shame, our jealousy, our procrastination, our quick temper, the memories that make us wince, the parts of our personality we try to hide. Our instinct, honed by a culture obsessed with positivity and peak performance, is to see these as defects. Flaws in the crystal that ruin its value. We try to buff them out with affirmations, to cover them with achievements, or to break the lens entirely and wish for a new one. We wage a secret war against these parts of ourselves, believing that if we can just eradicate them, then we will be pure, peaceful, worthy. But what if this war is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of ecology? What if a flaw is not a deviation from a perfect design, but evidence of a brilliant, adaptive survival strategy? What if the crack is not where the lens failed, but where it proved its resilience? To understand this, we must leave the minimalist, elemental world of the lighthouse and travel to its opposite, the overwhelming, complex, fecund heart of the Amazon rainforest. I lived for a time with an indigenous community deep in the basin, guided by a shaman named Kohanari. His understanding of the world was not analytical, but relational. He didn't see objects, he saw conversations. The vine talking to the tree. The river talking to the stone. The jaguar talking to the night. One day, we came upon a recent catastrophe. A giant Brazil nut tree, an emergent that had towered over the canopy for centuries, had been struck by lightning. It had fallen, a king slain, tearing a horrific gash in the green roof of the world. The wreckage was immense, shattered branches, exposed roots, a tomb of crushed understory. I felt a familiar sorrow, the human reflex to see only death, loss, the violation of what was once whole and majestic. Kohanori placed a hand on the scorched trunk. He did not look sad. He looked attentive. You see the end, he said. I see the beginning. He pointed upward. For the first time in perhaps 80 years, direct, unfiltered, brutal sunlight was pouring onto the forest floor. The spot was a violet rectangle of gold in the perpetual emerald twilight. This, he said, his voice full of reverence, is a light gap. He explained. In the dense economy of the rainforest, light is the ultimate currency. Most of the forest floor lives on borrowed light, the faint, green-tinged scraps that filter down. But certain seeds, hard, stubborn, evolutionary masterpieces, have a covenant with catastrophe. They can lie dormant in the soil for decades. They are programmed with one non-negotiable requirement: to germinate, they need the direct, scorching, full-spectrum light of the sun. Not a little. All of it. The falling of the giant is the pact, Kohanori said. The tree dies. The light arrives. The seeds remember their promise. They wake. He gestured at the ravaged earth. In one season, this scar will be the most alive place in the forest. Plants that could never grow in the shade will race for the sun. New flowers we have not seen in this place for a human lifetime will appear. The medicine plants here will be the strongest. The forest does not just recover from the fall, it is renewed by it. It becomes more diverse, more resilient, more intelligent. The wound is not where life ends. It is where a different kind of life, waiting in secret, is finally invited to the feast. He tapped his own chest firmly. The strongest medicines grow in the light gaps of the soul. Let this truth rewrite your relationship with your past and your so-called flaws. Your failure was a giant tree falling. It tore open your canopy of confidence or certainty. In the immediate aftermath, all you can see is the wreckage. The shame, the humiliation, the feeling of being broken. That grief is real. Honor it. Tend to the wreckage. But if you camp there forever, building a memorial to the fallen tree, you will miss the second, more important act. You will miss the new light. What light now reaches the soil of your being because that canopy is gone? The failure that shattered your arrogance. That allowed the light of humility and empathy to reach seeds that couldn't grow in the shade of superiority. The heartbreak that demolished your dream of a certain future. That let the light of self-reliance and unexpected new directions hit dormant seeds of independence. Your flaw of being overly sensitive. That might be a crack that formed in a childhood environment where you had to be hypervigilant to emotional weather. It's not a moral failure, it's an ecological adaptation. It was the best way you knew to survive in that particular emotional climate. The question is not, how do I fix this flaw? The question is, the climate of my life has changed. The old, dense canopy of childhood threat or conditional love may have fallen. What new seed within me, what strength, what wisdom, what compassion, is now being asked to grow in this new light? This perspective is backed by psychological research into post-traumatic growth, PTG. While PTSD research focuses on pathology, PTG investigates how people can experience positive psychological change as a result of struggling with adversity. It's not that trauma is good. It's that the human psyche, like the forest, has an innate capacity to use catastrophe to catalyze new growth. Studies show people report greater appreciation for life, deeper relationships, new possibilities, personal strength, and spiritual development following crises. The light gap creates the conditions for these seeds to sprout. Furthermore, neuroscience shows this isn't just feel-good talk. The stress of trauma or deep failure can trigger neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. It's a brutal form of pruning and growth. The old neural pathways, the canopy, are shaken. In the recovery, new, more resilient connections can form. The brain, like the forest, can become more complex and adaptable because of the break. So, how do we practically tend our inner light gaps? Let's engage in a process called mapping your light gap. You can do this in a journal or in quiet contemplation. Step 1. Identify the fallen tree. Bring to mind a current struggle, a persistent flaw, or a past wound that still feels tender. Name it simply, without drama. The fallen tree is my perfectionism. The fallen tree is the burnout I experienced last year. The fallen tree is my fear of public speaking. Step 2. Describe the wreckage, without judgment. Briefly describe the impact. How did this tree falling affect your inner landscape? Be factual. It leaves me paralyzed before starting projects, afraid to make a mistake. It makes me criticize others. The ground feels unstable, I can't trust my own efforts. Step 3. Notice the new light. Here is the crucial pivot. Ask, what new quality of light is now reaching me because of this gap? What became visible or possible only after this collapse? This is not about the tree, but about the sun now hitting the ground. For perfectionism, the light gap revealed my deep fear of being judged as inadequate. It also revealed a dormant seed of self-compassion, the understanding that my worth isn't tied to flawless performance. For burnout, the light gap revealed how I had tied my identity to productivity. The new light is the stark clarity of my own limits and the necessity of rest. For fear of speaking. The light gap revealed a childhood memory of being shamed. The new light is the awareness of my own desire to contribute, to connect. Step 4. Name the new seed. What wants to grow in this new light? It's often the opposite quality of the wound, or the deeper strength it forced you to develop. The seed is the courage to be a beginner, to be imperfectly human. The seed is a slower, more rhythmic way of living, based on being, not doing. The seed is authentic expression, speaking for my truth rather than for approval. Step 5. Tend the seed, one small action. Growth happens in tiny, daily increments. What is one microscopic, actionable step you can take today to water that seed? Today, I will intentionally leave one small task undone or imperfect. Today, I will pause for 5 minutes and do absolutely nothing, without calling it lazy. Today, I will share a vulnerable opinion with one trusted person. This practice is not spiritual bypassing. It does not say, your trauma was a gift. It says, your trauma was a catastrophe. And you are an ecosystem capable of forging life from catastrophe. Let's tend to that life. You stop being a gardener trying to glue a fallen redwood back together, and you become a wise forester, kneeling in the mud and the sunlight, planting the future. As we learn to relate to our wounds and flaws as potential light gaps, we must turn our attention to one of the most persistent and painful forces within our inner ecosystem, the inner critic. That voice that narrates your failures, anticipates rejection, and polices your every move with the relentless cruelty of a prison warden. We typically see this voice as the enemy, a malicious saboteur that must be defeated, silenced, or outsmarted. But what if we have misunderstood its fundamental nature? What if the critic is not an enemy, but a terrified, misplaced guardian? What if its cruelty is a distorted form of fierce, misguided loyalty? To understand this, I need to tell you a story. Not from the rainforest or the lighthouse, but from the realm of metaphor. Imagine a vast, beautiful palace, the seat of a wise and benevolent king. The palace represents your wholeness, your potential, your true self. Long ago, when the king was young and the kingdom vulnerable, the palace was invaded. There was chaos, fear, and injury. After the invaders were repelled, the captain of the guard, horrified by the breach and fiercely loyal to the king, made a vow, never again. He ordered the massive gates welded shut. He had stone masons brick up half the windows. He posted guards at every internal doorway. He instituted draconian rules. No one in or out without exhaustive searches, no loud laughter that might mask the sound of an approach, no new visitors who might be spies. His intentions were pure: protect the king. Keep the palace safe. But as years turned into decades, something tragic happened. The palace became a prison. The king, now mature and wise, could no longer walk in his gardens, for the gates were sealed. He could no longer receive emissaries of friendship and trade, for no one was allowed in. The beautiful halls, meant for music and celebration, echoed only with the footsteps of paranoid guards. The kingdom outside languished, and the king within grew isolated and sad. The guard captain, now old and rigid, still patrolled the battlements, seeing threats in every sunset and potential betrayal in every bird's flight. He was so focused on preventing the past invasion that he was starving the kingdom of its very life. He had mistaken safety for vitality, and control for protection. Your inner critic is that loyal, overzealous guard captain. It formed, almost always in childhood, during an invasion, a time you felt overwhelmed, shamed, rejected, or unsafe. Its original, desperate mission was, protect the king. At any cost. And it developed brutal but logical strategies. If I criticize you for being lazy before your father does, maybe you'll work harder and avoid his disappointment. If I tell you you're unlovable, you'll try so hard to be perfect that no one will ever leave you. If I make you feel ashamed of your body, you'll change it and finally be worthy of love. If I constantly warn you of social risks, you'll never be humiliated again. Its methods are harsh, shame, hypervigilance, catastrophic forecasting, but its original intent was survival. It is a guard dog that was trained in a war zone and never learned the war is over. It still barks at every shadow, every passing car, every friendly visitor, thinking it's saving your life. This framework is powerfully articulated by the therapeutic model Internal Family Systems, IFS, developed by Dr. Richard Schwartz. IFS proposes that the mind is naturally multiple, a system of parts, not a monolithic self. These are not alters as in dissociative identity disorder, they are subpersonalities we all have. The pleaser, the critic, the procrastinator, the angry child, the hero. IFS categorizes them into three broad roles. Exiles, parts that carry pain, trauma, and vulnerability from past experiences. They are often locked away because they feel too intense. Managers, parts that run the day-to-day life and try to keep the exiles locked away by controlling your environment and behavior. The inner critic is a classic manager. Its job is to preemptively avoid pain by making you perfect, successful, inoffensive, etc. Firefighters, parts that erupt when exiles break out, trying to douse the emotional flames with numbing behaviors, binging, drinking, compulsive scrolling, rage. Trying to silence the critic manager with willpower, yelling, "Shut up," in your mind, is like screaming at that traumatized guard dog. It just gets more frightened, more convinced of the danger, and more aggressive. You have to approach it differently. You have to reassure the dog. You have to show it, through steady, calm presence, that the threat is gone, that you, the adult you, are safe now and capable, and that it can finally stand down. This requires a shift from fusion to witnessing. You are not being the critic. You are hearing the critic. You are the king, finally able to walk up to the anxious old guard captain on the battlements and have a conversation. Let's engage in a direct, internal dialogue exercise. It may feel strange or awkward at first. That's okay. We're building a new neural pathway of self-relationship. Step 1. Invite the critic. Sit quietly. Set an intention to listen. Allow the critic's voice to arise. It might say something like, "You're so behind. You'll never catch up. Why even try?" Or, "They all think you're incompetent. You should just stay quiet. Don't argue. Don't collapse." Just notice the words and the tone. Step 2. Separate and identify. Inwardly, create a little space. Say to yourself, a part of me is criticizing me right now. This immediately creates distance. You are not the part, you are the one aware of the part. Step 3. Approach with curiosity. Now, address the critic part directly, with a gentle, internal tone. You might say, I hear you. You're really worried about me right now. You're afraid I'm going to fail / be rejected / be exposed. Just listen. You might feel a sensation. Tightness in the chest, a clenching in the gut. That's the part communicating somatically. Step 4. Thank its intent. This is the key that unlocks the door. Acknowledge its misguided loyalty. Thank you. Thank you for trying so hard to protect me. I can feel how hard you've worked, for so many years, trying to keep me safe by pushing me, by warning me. I see your effort. I know you're doing this out of loyalty. This validation is often what the desperate, lonely part has never received. Step 5. Offer reassurance. From your present, adult awareness, the self, in IFS terms, which is calm, curious, compassionate, and confident, offer the safety it needs. I want you to know that I am safe now. I am an adult. I can handle making mistakes. I can handle someone being disappointed. I can handle not being perfect. Your job of protecting me through criticism is done for now. You can rest. I've got this. Step 6. Ask what it needs. Gently inquire, what do you need from me to feel safe enough to rest? Don't force an answer. Just listen. You might sense an answer like, to be heard, to know you're taking your life seriously, or simply, to be seen. Step 7. Provide space. Imagine giving that part a comfortable chair in a sunlit room inside you. A place where it can be, without having to work. Let it know it is welcome, but its harsh methods are no longer required. This process is not a one-time exorcism. It's a new way of relating. Each time the critic pipes up, you don't have to go through all 7 steps. Sometimes, just mentally noting, there's my protector. It's worried. Thank you, I've got this, is enough to take the sharp, stabbing quality out of its voice. Over time, this consistent, compassionate response transforms the critic. It de-escalates from a shouting tyrant to a concerned, if sometimes gruff, advisor. Its volume decreases. Its tone softens. It may even begin to offer useful cautions, maybe prepare a bit for that meeting, instead of brutal condemnations, you're going to humiliate yourself. You are not destroying a part of yourself. You are integrating a lost, scared, overworked member of your inner team back into the whole. You are the king, finally freeing yourself and your loyal guard from the prison they built together. This inner shift has profound outer consequences. When you stop internally persecuting yourself, you have far less need to perceive persecution from the outside world. Projection decreases. Defensiveness melts. You can hear feedback without collapsing or counterattacking, because the inner guard captain isn't screaming, invasion, anymore. You create peace within the palace walls, and that peace naturally extends to your entire kingdom, your relationships, your work, your life. Having begun to befriend the inner guardians and tend our inner ecology, we encounter a deeper layer of our identity, the roles we play. Not just the defensive parts, but the full costumes we wear to navigate the social world. The achiever, the caretaker, the intellectual, the good parent, the reliable friend, the spiritual seeker. These are more than habits, they are personas, identities we have consciously or unconsciously crafted and then glued to our skin. We forget they are costumes. We believe the mask is our face. To explore this with wisdom, we travel to West Africa, to the ancient tradition of the griot, pronounced griot. The griot is not merely a storyteller or musician. They are the living library of a people. Historian, genealogist, advisor, poet, and keeper of cultural memory, all in one. When a griot performs, it is a sacred act. They often don elaborate, carved wooden masks. This mask is not for anonymity or deception. It is for transformation. I was privileged to witness a griot, named Fode, prepare for a ceremony in a village in Senegal. The mask he held was older than his grandfather, depicting the face of a legendary founder king. He spoke of it not as a prop, but as a vessel. "When I put this on," he said, his voice dropping to a whisper, "I am not Fode. I am not even a griot. I am the channel for the story of Sundiata. My own voice becomes his voice. My body carries his wisdom. The mask allows me to step aside so the story itself can live again in this space." He performed. The transformation was electrifying. His posture shifted. His voice gained a gravelly authority. He became the king, recounting trials and triumphs. The audience wasn't watching an actor, they were in the presence of the story itself. When the final drumbeat faded, Fode slowly, reverently, removed the mask. He held it in both hands, gazed at it for a moment, whispered words of thanks, and placed it gently back in its embroidered cloth. The king was gone. Fode returned, his eyes soft, his presence humble. The mask was a sacred tool, used in service to the community, then respectfully put away. The danger, Fode told me later, is not in wearing the mask. The danger is in forgetting you can take it off. If a griot wears the mask of a warrior to bed, he will have dreams of battle, not of peace. He will speak to his wife as a commander, not a husband. The mask has a time and a place. Its power is in its deliberate use. Your identities are your griot masks. You wear the professional mask to navigate the boardroom. It allows you to channel competence, decisiveness, strategic thinking. You wear the nurturing parent mask to comfort a crying child. It lets the ancient, universal energy of care flow through you. You wear the diligent student mask when learning a new skill. These are not false. They are skillful performances, necessary and beautiful adaptations for navigating different spheres of life. The suffering begins in the intermissions. When the boardroom meeting is over, but your jaw remains clenched, your mind racing with strategy. When the child is asleep, but you are still mentally rehearsing all the things you must do to be a good parent. When you are alone with your thoughts, and you are still performing the role of the spiritual seeker, anxiously grading your own mindfulness. You have forgotten to take the mask off. The performance continues for an audience of one, yourself. And it is utterly exhausting. This is more than a metaphor, it's a psychological reality. Sociologists and psychologists study role theory and code switching. We all have a repertoire of roles: student, employee, friend, sibling, and scripts that go with them. Code switching is the ability to alter behavior and speech to fit different contexts. This is a sign of social intelligence. But when code switching becomes a source of constant stress, when you lose a sense of a core self beneath the roles, it leads to burnout and what's called role strain, the stress of trying to meet conflicting demands of multiple roles. The practice, then, is the conscious, daily ritual of unmasking. Of remembering you are the griot, not the king. You are the awareness that can wear many masks, not any one mask itself. Let's create an evening unmasking ritual you can practice. It takes only a few minutes and can be profoundly liberating. Find a quiet moment, perhaps as you prepare for bed. Stand or sit comfortably. You can do this before a mirror, or simply with eyes closed, feeling into your own presence. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the air on your skin. You are here, in this private space. The day's performances are over. Now, begin to acknowledge the masks you wore today. Do this silently, or in a soft whisper. As you name each one, consciously feel the physical and energetic release of that role. Thank you, professional mask. You helped me navigate that difficult conversation today. You were articulate and calm. I honor your service. Your work is complete for now. I now place you down. Feel a deliberate softening in your forehead, your jaw. Let your executive posture relax. Thank you, caretaker mask. You were patient with my child's worries tonight. You were present and warm. Your work is done. I place you down. Feel a release in your chest and shoulders. Let the weight of others' needs lift. Thank you, social mask. You helped me be engaging at lunch. You can rest now. I place you down. Feel your facial muscles relax from their social smile. Let your expression go neutral. Thank you, problem solver mask. You worked hard on that puzzle. You can rest. I place you down. Feel the constant background mental calculations quiet. Continue through any other roles, the stoic, the helper, the fixer, the perfectionist, the spiritual seeker. Name them, thank them for their specific service today, and intentionally release them. After you have gone through them, take another deep breath. Shake out your hands and arms gently. Roll your shoulders. Make a silly face. The masks are off. There is no one to perform for. There is no role to fill. In this space, ask yourself, who is here now, when the masks are down? Don't answer with another role. Don't answer with, I am tired, or I am relaxed. Those are states. Feel for the presence that is aware of being tired, aware of being relaxed. This is the griot after the performance. This is the silent, aware space that chooses which mask to wear and when. This is your essential being, vast, quiet, and free. Practice this unmasking nightly. Over time, you will start to catch yourself during the day, wearing a mask unnecessarily. You'll feel your helper mask click into place when a colleague simply mentions a problem, and you can inwardly say, I don't need to wear this right now. I can just listen. You reclaim choice. You move from being imprisoned by your roles to being a skillful artist of your own life, donning and doffing masks with intention and grace. As we become more skillful in relating to our inner parts and our social roles, we refine the quality of our attention itself. Much of our suffering comes from being pulled by external demands and internal chatter. We react rather than respond. We are driven by shoulds and fears, not by a deep, internal sense of alignment. How do we navigate from this deeper place? Not by more thinking, but by a subtler faculty, felt resonance. The feeling of a visceral, yes or no, in the body that is wiser than the reasoning mind. I learned about this from a man whose work was the definition of precision, yet depended entirely on subtle feeling, a master piano tuner for the world's great concert halls. I'll call him Henry. His workspace was the silent, expectant air of an empty auditorium before the crowd arrives. I expected to see him with an electronic tuning device. Instead, he carried a simple, unassuming steel tuning fork. He explained, the machine can tell you if a note is technically in tune to a frequency. But a piano isn't a machine playing alone. It's an instrument in a room, made of wood and wire that vibrate together. The machine can't hear the room. It can't hear the relationship between the notes. His process was a meditation. He would strike the tuning fork against his knee. A pure, clear A440 Hz note would ring out, a truth made audible. He would hold the vibrating fork near the piano strings and then, he would listen. Not just with his ears, but with his hands on the soundboard, with his whole being. He was listening for sympathetic resonance. When the piano strings' vibration perfectly matched the forks, something magical happened. The air in the piano's body would seem to come alive with a richer, fuller, more vibrant hum. The string wasn't just making its own sound, it was singing with the absolute truth of the fork. The two vibrations married, creating a third, more beautiful thing. I call it listening for the yes, Henry said. The yes is that feeling of everything locking into place. It's a harmony you feel in your bones. When you find that yes, you don't have to force the tuning pin. The tension is just right. The note is home. He then said something that changed how I approached my own inner life. Your mind, your life, is like this piano. It's been tuned by all your experiences, and many of those tunings are off. They're based on old wounds, other people's expectations, fears. Your essence, your true nature, is that tuning fork. It holds the perfect pitch of peace, of truth, of okayness. Your work isn't to silence the piano. It's to strike the inner fork of your awareness, and then listen. Listen for when a thought, a choice, a person, a path resonates with that inner truth. That resonance is your guide. This is a practice of moving from the head to the whole body as an instrument of knowing. Science is beginning to understand this through the lens of the nervous system. Polyvagal theory, developed by Dr. Stephen Porges, explains that our autonomic nervous system is constantly performing neuroception, unconsciously scanning our environment and our internal state for cues of safety, danger, or life threat. This isn't cognition, it's a primal, bodily felt sense. When we feel safe, our social engagement system, ventral vagal, is active. We are open, connected, receptive. This state is the physiological correlate of resonance. When we detect danger, we shift into sympathetic, fight/flight, arousal, the felt sense of dissonance, anxiety. No, when we feel trapped or overwhelmed, we dip into dorsal vagal, shutdown, the no of numbness, collapse, dissociation. Listening for the yes is the conscious cultivation of neuroception. It's learning to trust the body's ancient, intelligent signaling system. It's noticing that a certain decision creates a tightening in your gut, no, while another brings an expansion in your chest, yes. Furthermore, this resonance has a measurable correlate in heart rate variability, HRV. High HRV, a flexible, responsive rhythm between heartbeats, is associated with the ventral vagal state, resilience, and health. It's the sign of a system that can resonate with life's changing rhythms. Low HRV is associated with rigid, stressed states. Practices like meditation that cultivate felt resonance have been shown to improve HRV. Let's practice the resonance scan. This is a 10-minute guided meditation to train this faculty. Part 1, Striking the Fork, 2 minutes. Settle in. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths to arrive. Now, imagine or feel into a silent, vibrant hum at the very center of your being. This isn't a sound you hear with your ears. It's a felt sense of alive, aware, peaceful presence. This is your inner tuning fork, your essential nature. It holds the pitch of peace, love, and truth. Spend 2 minutes just resting in the feeling of this inner hum. Let it permeate your body. Part 2, Scanning Thoughts, 3 minutes. Now, allow thoughts to arise naturally. As each thought appears, don't get caught in its story. Simply bring the sound or feeling of that thought into the field of your awareness. Hold the feeling of your inner tuning fork, your peaceful presence, and the note of the thought simultaneously. Ask inwardly, gently, does this resonate? A thought about an upcoming deadline may feel jagged, sharp, contracting. That's a clear, no resonance. Mentally note, no, and let it pass. A thought of a loved one, or a happy memory, might bring a warmth, a softening, an expansion. That's a yes resonance. Rest in that feeling of harmony for a few breaths. Don't analyze the memory, bathe in the resonance it creates. Part 3. Scanning emotions and sensations, 3 minutes. Expand your scan to emotions and bodily sensations. Feel an emotion like anxiety. Bring it into the field alongside your inner tuning fork. Ask, does this anxiety resonate? It will likely feel dissonant, a clanging note. No. Now, recall a feeling of deep contentment. Feel it in your body. Ask, does this contentment resonate? It will likely hum in harmony with your inner fork. Yes. Stay with the yes. Scan physical sensations. Tension in the neck, likely, no. The feeling of your breath flowing easily, yes. Part 4. Scanning external sounds, 2 minutes. Finally, open your awareness to external sounds. Hear the ambient noise of your environment. For each sound, the hum of a fridge, a bird chirping, a distant siren, ask, does the experience of hearing this sound resonate with my inner being? This is not about whether you like the sound. It's about the felt impact of the vibration. The hum of the fridge might create a neutral or slightly calming resonance. A sudden, loud noise will create dissonance. A bird's song might create a clear yes. Simply notice the difference. Part 5. Returning to the fork, closing. Gently let go of the scanning. Return your full attention to the silent hum of your inner tuning fork. Rest here for a final minute. This is your home base. This resonant peace is your true north. This practice trains you to navigate your inner and outer world by felt sense, not just by logic or fear. You begin to make choices, what to focus on, what to let go of, how to respond to people, based on this internal harmony meter. For example, faced with a decision, you might think through the pros and cons, the piano's current tuning, but then you pause and strike the fork. You imagine saying yes to option A and feel for resonance, a tightening, an expansion. You imagine option B. Which one creates a deeper, more settled yes in the body? In a conversation, you can listen not just to the other person's words, but to your own internal resonance. Is what they're saying, or what you're about to say, creating a yes, alignment, truth, or a no, constriction, falseness? When choosing how to spend your time, you can ask, does scrolling through social media right now resonate? Likely a dull, distracted no. Does stepping outside for 5 minutes resonate? Likely a fresher yes. This is not about becoming self-obsessed. It is about becoming self-referenced. You are using the most sophisticated guidance system you have, your entire psychobiological organism, to move towards what is genuinely life-affirming and away from what is life-denying, moment by moment. You are tuning your life to the fundamental truth of your own being. The path home is not a map, it's a frequency. And you are learning to walk by its sound. The journey of remembrance leads us to a vista that can dissolve the final vestiges of loneliness and separation. As we polish the lens, tend our light gaps, befriend our guardians, remove our masks, and listen for resonance, a quiet, awe-inspiring realization often dawns: the peace I feel within is not my private possession. It feels like the same substance as the stillness in the room, the vastness of the night sky, the intelligent order in a growing leaf. This is the realization of non-separation. And in our time, we have a powerful, unexpected ally in understanding this: modern science, specifically quantum physics and cosmology. For centuries, Western science painted a picture of a universe of separate, solid particles, tiny billiard balls bouncing around in the empty container of space. We were isolated objects in a cold, mechanical void. This worldview fed a deep sense of existential loneliness. But the leading edge of physics now tells a story that sounds more like ancient mysticism than Newtonian mechanics. Quantum field theory suggests that what we perceive as solid particles, electrons, quarks, all the building blocks of you and your chair, are not discrete little balls. They are better understood as localized, temporary excitations, or ripples, in all-pervasive, invisible fields. Think of the universe not as a container with things in it, but as an ocean. An electron is not a separate fish, it is a specific standing wave in the electron field. A photon is a ripple in the electromagnetic field. Your body, then, is not a bag of separate particles. It is a stunningly complex, dynamic, interactive pattern of vibrations in these fundamental quantum fields. The chair you sit on is another pattern. The air is another. All are interacting ripples in the same cosmic medium. A cosmologist friend once gave me the most helpful reframe. She said, "The most spiritually significant thing you can do with modern physics is to grammar check your identity. Take your sense of being a noun and turn it into a verb. Stop thinking, I am a person. Start feeling, I am person ing. I am the universe, expressing itself as this particular, temporary collection of sensations, thoughts, memories, and relationships. I am a localized, not of aware energy in the seamless fabric of spacetime. The carbon in my cells was forged in the heart of dying stars. The water in my body has cycled through oceans, clouds, and rivers for billions of years. I am not in the universe is expressing itself, right here, right now, as my conscious awareness reading these words. To ground this cosmic perspective, let me share an original story set in the world of craftsmanship. Imagine a master weaver in a medieval European workshop. She works for years on a vast tapestry for the cathedral. The design is immense and complex, a celestial scene with angels, stars, planets, and at the very center, a small, humble human figure looking up in awe. One day, a novice points to a single, dark thread in the human figure's robe. "This thread is ugly," the novice exclaims. "It's the wrong color. It's frayed. It ruins the whole figure." The novice becomes obsessed with this one thread, plucking at it, trying to remove it, convinced the entire tapestry's value is compromised by this single flaw. The master weaver smiles. She gently guides the novice's chin upward, forcing her gaze away from the single thread. "You are looking from an inch away," the master says. "You have fused with the thread. You believe you are the flawed thread. Step back." She leads the novice across the room. From 20 feet away, the novice gasps. The flawed thread is now invisible. What she sees is the breathtaking whole, the interplay of light and shadow, the connection between the human figure and the swirling galaxies above it, the divine harmony of the entire design. The thread wasn't a mistake, it was a necessary contrast, a point of depth that made the surrounding gold thread shine brighter. From the perspective of the whole tapestry, the flaw was an essential part of the beauty. "You are not the thread," the master weaver whispers. "You are the entire tapestry. And you are also the weaver. And you are also the wool, the dye, the loom, and the vision in the mind that conceived it. To suffer, you must first forget the whole and become hypnotized by a single stitch. When you feel like a flawed, isolated thread, anxious, unworthy, alone, you have gotten too close to the canvas. You have fused with a single, passing sensation of your experience. The practice is to step back. To feel the whole tapestry. Here is a practical exercise to cultivate this felt sense, called the universe gazing at itself. Gaze at your hand. Look at your own hand. Don't see it as, my hand, a personal possession. See it as stardust. The carbon, calcium, iron were forged in stellar furnaces. This stardust coalesced into a planet, swirled in primordial oceans, was woven into the DNA of countless life forms, and has now arrived, through an unbroken chain of ancestry, as this precise arrangement of bones, skin, and nerve endings before you. Your hand is the universe, shaped into a form that can feel, touch, create. Feel the aliveness. Feel the tingling, the warmth, the pulse of blood. This aliveness is not a property of the stardust. It is the consciousness of the universe, feeling itself through this form. The universe is not inert out there. It is alive, and you are its aliveness becoming aware. Expand the gaze. Look slowly around the room. See every object not as separate from you, but as a differently patterned vibration of the same fundamental field. The wood of the table was once a tree, drawing sunlight from a star and minerals from the earth. The metal was ore in the ground. The glass was sand. It's all the universe, rearranged into temporary, functional forms. Feel the awareness. Now, feel the awareness that is doing this seeing, this feeling. That which is reading these words. That awareness is not in your head. Your head, the room, the sensations, all of it is appearing within this aware space. You are not a thing inside a universe. You are the universe, happening as this point of aware perception, this here-ness, this now-ness. Rest in this feeling for a few minutes. Any sense of smallness, of isolation, of lack, is seen for what it is, a story playing on the surface of an infinite, intelligent, conscious whole. You are not a wave lonely for the ocean. You are the ocean, momentarily waving. In this, the search for external validation ends. Your worth is not comparative, it is intrinsic, monumental, and absolute. You are a unique aperture through which the cosmos is experiencing itself. How could that ever be insufficient? This brings us to the final, gentlest, and most ironic surrender, the end of the seeker itself. The one who has been listening to this, trying these exercises, hoping for a shift, that you is also a pattern, a role, the seeker mask. The ultimate homecoming is when the seeker realizes, with a shock of quiet, undramatic joy, that there is nothing to find and nowhere to go. The treasure was not buried at the end of the path. It was the ground the path was made of. There is an ancient parable from the desert mystics of the Middle East that captures this perfectly. It tells of a man who heard legends of a priceless jewel called the heart of the world. It was said that this gem radiated a light that dissolved all fear and conferred perfect, unshakable peace. It was hidden in a far-off land, guarded by great perils. Consumed by a burning desire to end his inner suffering, the man sold all he had, left his family and his village, and embarked on a quest. For 30 years, he searched. He crossed scorching deserts where mirages of oases taunted him. He climbed frozen mountains that stole his breath and his courage. He ventured into dark forests where he was lost for years. He sat at the feet of wise teachers in distant monasteries, learning complex meditations, arduous physical disciplines, and secret mantras. With each passing year, he grew more weary, more hollowed out, more desperately certain that the jewel was just over the next dune, beyond the next mountain pass, in the next teacher's secret teaching. He became a living embodiment of seeking, lean, intense, eyes always fixed on the horizon. But peace eluded him. Each new discovery only revealed a new layer of lack. Each glimpse of calm was shattered by the next wave of his own unresolved pain. After 3 decades, old, frail, and utterly broken in spirit, he gave up. The search had emptied him of everything, even hope. With nowhere else to go, filled with the ashes of failure, he turned and began the long, defeated trek back to the village of his birth, a place he hadn't seen since he was a young man filled with fire. The journey back was the hardest of all. He was a ghost walking through his own past. Finally, at nightfall, he arrived. The village was quiet, changed yet familiar. His childhood home was there, small and dark, seeming to shrink in the moonlight. Overwhelmed by a lifetime of futile striving, he collapsed on the stone threshold. In a final gesture of despair, he let his forehead fall against the worn wooden door. Thud. The impact dislodged a single, loose stone in the ancient wall beside the doorframe. It clattered to the ground. In the silvery moonlight, something in the newly revealed cavity caught his eye, a soft, mesmerizing, internal gleam. With trembling, skeletal hands, he reached into the cool, dark space. His fingers closed around a smooth, fist-sized object. He pulled it out. It was a gem of impossible clarity. It seemed to hold moonlight within it and emit its own gentle, warm radiance. As he held it, a wave of profound, total peace moved through his body, a peace so deep it felt like remembering, not acquiring. It was the heart of the world. It had been waiting, hidden in the wall of his own house, the place he had left in such a frantic hurry to begin his search 3 decades before. He sat there on his own threshold, the jewel in his palm, and wept. Not tears of sorrow, but of awe at the simplicity, the irony, the sheer, blinding obviousness of it. He had circled the globe only to find the treasure buried in the foundation of his own home. You are that seeker. And you are already home. All the frantic searching, the spiritual techniques, the anxiety about whether you're doing it right, the hope for a future awakening, this is just you knocking your head against the door of your own being. The jewel of peace is not in a secret, elevated state of consciousness. It is embedded in the very fabric of your ordinary, present awareness. It is the aliveness in your senses right now. It is the quiet witness behind your thoughts. It is the tenderness you feel when your heart breaks. It is the simplicity of the next breath, already happening. The final practice, therefore, is to cease all practice. To lay down the mantle of the seeker. To end the search by realizing you are what you sought. For a few moments each day, upon waking, or before sleep, simply be. Not to achieve a state of being, but to surrender to the being that is already, always happening. Sit. Set a timer if you like, for 5 minutes. Let everything be exactly as it is. The traffic noise is not an interruption, it is the sound of the world. The buzzing mind is not a problem, it is the mind doing what minds do. The tired body is not an obstacle, it is the body resting. The beating heart is life pulsing. Don't call it meditation. Don't call it mindfulness. Don't call it anything. Don't try to be peaceful. Don't try to be aware. Just let existence be, with you as its conscious locus. In that radical, utter allowing, the seeker dissolves. What remains is what has always been here, prior to all seeking, peace itself, conscious of itself. You have not found peace. You have realized you are it. The jewel was never lost. You just stopped looking for it elsewhere. As we rest in this homecoming, our inner world doesn't necessarily become silent. The lens still has facets. The inner guards still patrol. The masks are still in their chest. The piano still has many strings. The final integration is not about creating a bland, uniform inner silence. It is about moving from chaos to harmony, from a cacophony of conflicted parts to an inner symphony. Imagine an orchestra in utter disarray. It's rehearsal time, but the conductor hasn't arrived. The violins are playing a frantic, anxious folk tune. The cellos are bowing a slow, mournful dirge. The trumpets are blaring a militant fanfare. The percussion section is just making random, alarming crashes. Each section is playing its own tune with desperate intensity, convinced its song is the most important, trying to drown out the others. The sound is a painful, jarring noise. This is the untended inner world, the critic blaring, the worrier fiddling anxiously, the sad child cello weeping, the procrastinator percussion delaying and crashing. Now, the conductor, your aware, compassionate self, walks in. A bad conductor would scream, silence, and try to force everyone to stop. This might create a tense quiet, but the musicians would be resentful, scared, ready to erupt again. This is suppression. The wise conductor does something different. She lifts her baton, not in command, but in invitation. She listens. She really hears each section. She nods to the violins with understanding. I hear your anxiety. It's a fast, sharp song. She turns to the cellos with empathy. I hear your sorrow. It's deep and heavy. She acknowledges the trumpets. I see your desire to be strong and alert. This act of being heard is miraculous. The frantic playing begins to soften. The musicians feel seen. They lower their instruments slightly. The noise diminishes. Then, the conductor gently suggests, let's try something. Cellos, let's hold your deep note as a foundation. Violins, weave your quick melody around it, but let's slow it just a touch. Trumpets, come in here with a supportive accent, not a blast. She is not silencing anyone. She is integrating them. She is finding the place where each part's energy can contribute to a coherent whole. Slowly, a new sound emerges. It's not the violin's anxious tune, nor the cello's dirge. It's a new, richer, more complex piece of music that contains the truth of the anxiety, the depth of the sorrow, and the strength of the alertness, but blended into something beautiful, something that moves together. This is integration. The parts haven't disappeared. They have been harmonized by the conscious, loving presence of the conductor, the self. This is the culmination of all our work. The lens, Module 1, is the conductor's awareness. The light gaps, Module 2, are the unique tones each instrument brings. The loyal guardian, Module 3, is the trumpet section, trying to protect. The masks, Module 4, are the different scores the orchestra can play. Listening for the yes, Module 5, is the conductor's attuned ear for harmony. The practice here is the inner council meeting. It's a guided visualization that brings it all together. Set the scene. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Imagine a round, peaceful chamber, a council room. There's a seat for you at the head, as the presiding awareness, the self. The room is safe and calm. Invite the parts. Gently invite a few of your inner parts to take seats around the table. You might invite the anxious worrier, the inner critic, the guard. The sad or lonely child, the playful part, the wise part. Don't force it, let who wants to be seen appear. Witness with compassion. As each part appears, simply witness it. Don't become it. You are the self in the head chair. See if you can feel each part's emotional energy. Thank each one for coming. Let them speak, one at a time. Turn to one part, say the worrier. Inwardly ask, what do you want me to know? Listen. It might say, in words, images, or feelings, I'm scared everything will fall apart. I have to stay vigilant. Acknowledge it, thank you. I hear you. You are scared and trying to keep us safe by staying alert. Ask its positive intent. Ask the part, what are you trying to do for me, with all this worrying? Its deeper intent might be, to keep you prepared. To avoid disaster. To protect you from pain. Thank it for this positive intent. Reassure and integrate. From yourself, offer reassurance, I hear your deep care. Thank you. I am an adult now. I can handle uncertainty. You don't have to carry this burden alone. Would you be willing to let me handle the big picture, and maybe you could just offer a gentle reminder instead of a constant alarm? Feel if the part softens, relaxes. Repeat. Move to another part, like the critic. Listen to its fears, uncover its positive intent, to make you perfect so you're never rejected, and reassure it, your standard of care is noted. Let's aim for excellence from a place of love, not fear of failure. You can rest. Feel the harmonizing. After hearing a few parts, sit back as the self. Feel the atmosphere in the council chamber. It should feel calmer, less frantic. The parts feel heard. They don't have to scream anymore. They can cooperate. This is inner peace, not the absence of parts, but their harmonious alignment under the leadership of your compassionate awareness. Do this practice weekly, or whenever you feel inner conflict. You are not killing off parts of yourself. You are becoming the leader your inner community has always needed. This final module contains no new stories or concepts. It is a practical synthesis, a toolbox for living from this remembered peace in the messy, beautiful, demanding reality of daily life. The goal is not to live in a perpetual meditative state on a cushion. The goal is for this understanding to infuse how you walk, talk, work, and rest. Micro-practices for embodied remembrance. The 30-second lens check. When stressed, pause. Feel your feet on the floor. Ask, am I identifying as the flickering flame, the thought/feeling, or the stable lens, the awareness? Just asking the question creates space. Breathe as the lens for 3 breaths. The 1-minute resonance scan, before making a small decision, what to eat, how to respond to an email. Pause. Close your eyes for 60 seconds. Feel your inner tuning fork, your calm center. Hold option A in mind. Feel the body, expansive, yes, or contractive, no. Do the same for option B, choose the yes. The 2-minute unmasking breath, in a bathroom stall, in your car, before a meeting. 3 deep breaths. Mentally whisper, masks off. Just awareness here. Feel the release of social performance. Enter the next moment from presence, not persona. The light gap reframe. When you notice a flaw or mistake, instantly ask, what new light is this revealing? What seed is being watered? Shift from judgment to curiosity in under 10 seconds. The guardian acknowledgement, when the inner critic attacks, immediately respond, inwardly, ah, my protector is here. Thank you. I've got this. Disarm it with gratitude, not argument. Troubleshooting, the, oh no, I lost it, panic. You will forget. You will fuse with a thought, put on a mask and forget it's on, get lost in an old story. This is not failure. This is the practice. The moment of realization is the awakening. The fact that you notice you're lost means you're already found. The awareness has woken up to its own distraction. Celebrate that moment, don't condemn it. Gentle return, simply sigh, smile inwardly, and use one of your micro-practices. Ah, I was lost in the flame. Hello, lens. That's it. No drama. No story about how you're a bad meditator. Just a gentle, immediate return. From reacting to responding, the space created by these practices is the gap between stimulus and response. In that gap lies your freedom and your peace. From perfection to wholeness, you stop trying to be a perfect, shiny, unblemished lens. You embrace your whole, complex, beautifully flawed and resilient lens structure. You are not a finished product, you are a living process. From seeking to abiding. The frantic spiritual search ends. You are no longer trying to get somewhere else. You are learning to abide, deeply and fully, right where you are, as what you are. This is not a graduation. There is no certificate. It is a homecoming that you recommit to, moment by moment, breath by breath. It's the journey of a lifetime that goes absolutely nowhere, and discovers everything. You have just traveled through the quiet corridors of your own being. From the storm-lashed lighthouse to the light-gapped rainforest, from the griot's mask to the tuner's fork, from the quantum field to the jewel in your own wall. We didn't chase peace tonight. We remembered it. We circled the truth that you are not a project to be completed, but a presence to be realized. No fixing, no performing, no more future self to exhaust you. Just a breath. Just presence. Just the quiet, irrevocable knowing that you were never broken, only buried beneath layers the world taught you to wear. Each module was a step out of the courtroom of self-judgment, into the sky of your own awareness. You let the mud settle. You dropped the sword of self-critique. You stopped picking at the wound and started listening to its wisdom. You ceased the endless becoming and started simply being. That is not a small thing. That is a homecoming. So, as you drift into sleep, let these teachings stay with you not as concepts to remember, but as anchors to feel. Let them melt into the background of your breath, your body, your being. There is nothing left to prove, nothing to earn, nothing to correct. You're here. You're whole. You're home. If this journey of remembrance brought you any comfort, clarity, or a moment of stillness tonight, I invite you to leave a comment below and share what spoke to your heart. Your voice matters here. It creates a community of awakening, a chorus of others remembering their way home. And if you'd like to be guided back to this stillness regularly, to have these anchors refreshed and deepened, please subscribe to Monk's Temple and tap the bell for notifications. Peace isn't a one-time arrival. It's a rhythm, a current in the deep ocean of your being. Let's return to it together, again and again. Thank you for your profound presence tonight. May the depth of your own being be your rest and your renewal. May you carry the quiet of this temple into your tomorrow, not as a memory, but as your living reality. Good night.